All right, it is my pleasure to introduce our first speakers. We're going to have a fireside chat on the 2020 journey, 20 years creating impact and the vision for the next 20 years. And I'm going to bring up Monica Montilla and Esther Aguilera. I'd like to introduce Esther. She is a transformational leader known for driving impact and results, a two-time chief executive and two-time executive director, leading with a 32-year track record, executing strategic business plans, and leading high-performing teams. She forged hundreds of strategic partnerships with Fortune 500 companies, institutional investors, search firms, and private equity. She is the immediate past president and CEO of the Latino Corporate Directors Association and also launched the LCDEF Board Ready Institute and was executive producer of the annual LCDA Board Leaders Convening. So everybody welcome Esther Aguilera, who will introduce Monica.
Oh, here we go. Perfect. Thank you. Well, it is my great pleasure to be here and to be part of the Angeles Familia. I'd like to give a little background so you get to know Monica a little bit better. She is a leader who runs a purposeful organization in the investment management world. Her drive is to create a better world. There is a real purpose and mission behind it and stronger communities. That has been sort of the motto from the very beginning. So she exemplifies the spirit of business as a business and community enabler. You know, in terms of work-life balance, she and her husband, Jay, he has a background in investment banking. They work closely together. They're co-founders. And you have two amazing daughters, right? So I'm part of the firm because our values align, and that means a lot to me. So Jay and Monica are examples of leaders who are determined to elevate businesses and our communities. So a little bit of background, Monica studied law in Colombia, and she had a 9-year career in one of the largest companies in Latin America and was an international lawyer and then moved into management positions. So one of her bold moves was telling the company CEO that she just got married and moving to New York City, in which case his response was, well, I want to continue. He gave her a job in New York and paid for her executive MBA at Columbia University. So, 20 years later, she and Jay launched Alura Capital in 2005. So this is a milestone year for us, 20 years. And, it's a time when few Latinas or few women were in this field. And, I always say that she's like the first Latina CEO and founder in private equity. So 20 years later, Monica's social impact investing model has transformed private equity and opened pathways for many others to enter and prosper. Let's welcome Monica. So let's get started. So you have demonstrated that you can create value for investors, grow companies, and have a positive impact for employees and the community. Monica, tell us, what was the drive to create Alura, and tell us about Altura's investment thesis.
Great. Well, Esther, thank you for that beautiful intro. It's a pleasure to be here amongst investors, entrepreneurs, talented Latinos and non-Latinos, right, that believe in the Hispanic market. So we started Altura 20 years ago. I can't believe it's been 20 years, first of all. It seems as if it was probably 5 or 10, and time has gone so fast. We started the firm because I had an investment thesis around smaller, frequently diverse investment management firms. At that time, it was hedge funds, fixed income funds, equity funds that exhibited performance that was better than their larger peers, yet nobody wanted to hire them. And I was an investment management consultant, and I saw the numbers, and I'm like, why can't we take this to investment committee if this company is delivering better returns? The firm I was part of was, connected to large organizations who brought our research, and they just recommended us the large investment management firms. And I really had to believe that there was something very special in the small business world, in the world of investment management. And my firm didn't believe in it. And so one day, two very senior guys that were about to retire, that were founders and leaders, called me and said, you know what, Monica, we believe in your thesis. We know that this is something that is right. It's just that the market, there's the marketing arms are very heavy, the relationships are very heavy. By the way, our all our research and our conferences are paid by those. So there's all sorts of connectivities, economic connectivities that feed the big beast. But they said, but we think you're right and we want to help you start a firm. And when they said that, I looked at them and said, what? Starting a firm against, any one of these big firms. And it really seemed daunting. And they actually said, yeah, we're going to come to your house and we're going to have a series of sessions and we're going to figure out a way to start a firm. And I believed in it. I got very excited. I told my husband about it. We always wanted to have an entrepreneurial undertaking. So it sounded like a good idea. But of course, we did the math and, how much will it take? How many people will we need? What office and all these things? And I actually put together a deck and I went and pitched to two potential investors and they both said yes. And I couldn't believe it because I was thinking that, you had to go with your deck to 20 doors or 200 doors. And so we just got to develop the Altura mission based on clarity of investment thesis. I did have the good fortune of having wonderful clients who also believed in my thesis, and that also helped us to develop the firm. And then we had a big crisis in 2008 and 2010 when the markets fell apart. Our whole investment thesis fell apart because our big investment management, pension funds, endowments, foundations stopped investing with smaller firms. And so we had this great information and this great investment thesis, and there wasn't a market for it. And that sometimes happens. And those moments are actually pivotal moments when you say, okay, so how do I reshuffle, right? How do we do? And my husband, who had come from private equity, always would have the thesis of instead of being a consulting firm, we need to be an asset manager. And our last consulting advisory job as a consultant was for US Treasury. In the times of crisis, we actually got hired by US Treasury, which was a phenomenal opportunity. They were telling me I was the first Latina ever to be an advisor to US Treasury. I would take the train every week, be in front of Geithner and all the people in the Treasury. And it was just, and we actually developed a thesis. It's all about, my world is about investment thesis on the value of small businesses. And we were tracking banks that were, Treasury had invested in small, big, large banks across the country. And we developed a thesis around the purpose that regional banks and community banks had for lending to small businesses. But then the big question is, but you lend as much as you have equity, as you have cash. And the small businesses don't have that part. And so we said, what if we develop a fund? We go to the same institutional investors that know us and believed in our consulting product. And we say, well, now we're going to invest in small businesses. It's a big journey to develop a private equity fund because you have to develop a thesis and you have to begin to invest and show. And suddenly you have some sort of track record that you could go to the institutional marketplace. We did that in 2010 and we developed our first fund, then our second, then our fourth. Now we're, gearing this year to develop our fourth fund. So that's sort of a quick story of how Altura was formed. And today what we do is we invest in small and middle market businesses in 4 verticals: consumer, business services, manufacturing, and healthcare. We have a portfolio today of 12 firms. It goes up, it goes down because we buy and sell all the time. Sometimes we've had 22 in the portfolio. Today we have 16. And we are not only a patient capital provider, so we do debt and equity, but we're also providers of strategic resources so that firm has the accompanying elements whatever it may be, we have something called the Altura Way, where we help companies in that journey to double or triple their size. So that's a bit of how we started and what we do today.
Thank you. So what do you see as maybe some of your biggest accomplishments? And then also, what is your vision for Altura's next 20 years?
I would say my biggest accomplishment is my family, right? And on a personal note, because, and my soul, right? It begins with you. Everything emanates from who you are as a human being, you are as a family member, who you are as a societal member. But I would say in terms of Altura as a mission and a purpose that we embarked in 20 years ago, I would say fulfilling our purpose, which has been to transform societies through entrepreneurial success. That's what we dreamed about day one. We think that entrepreneurialism is a phenomenal engine of value creation. And you do that, you have clients that entrust you with capital, that many times are pension funds. They're, millions of people that have a little pension fund, where they live with. So you better deliver because it's something that is, it's a big fiduciary duty. And I would say my biggest, what I feel most proud of probably is being able to deliver on our promise to our institutional investors. And alongside that, because it's the how and the how you get to do it, I'm very proud of the team and the culture and the values that we have developed in the firm, which is really the engine to be able to deliver that value.
So you are, supported by some of the largest institutional investors in the country and the world, and you've diversified that. How does that all fit in again in your next fund and how you seek to build the next fund?
So if anything, I would say when I look at our trajectory and we're, shy of 300 million of assets under management. Some people say, oh, that's a lot of money. And it is, very proud of the assets. But frankly, I think I should be 2 billion or 3 or 5 or 20 or 100, right? And so sometimes we're constrained by, I came to this country, I didn't have a friend, I didn't have a connection, I didn't have anything. I had my husband and I had my intellectual framework and my values, right? And I do think that when I see who scaled up, it is a business of delivering, no doubt, but it's also a business of relationships and being part of certain networks that are willing to open the door. And how long it takes to open the door, right? To the best and brightest, it's a quick thing. To the ones there, trying to make it, sometimes you go to fund 2 and fund 3 and fund 4, and they're still watching you, right? And so I would say, that goal of being at the scale we should be, because the market opportunity we have, if we think about the space we're living in, and we have an emphasis on investing with diverse business owners, with women-owned firms, with minority-owned firms in low and moderate income communities, and creating high-quality jobs. That market, we did this analysis 3 years ago, and then we updated it like 2 years ago with the $1 billion roundtable. It's a market that we estimate in $600 billion. So there's a market opportunity there that is ready to be harnessed. So that's my answer to you, my dear.
Thank you. So what is your dream and vision for the Latino community? You've got, you've been very active in giving back. So she chairs the USHCC, the foundation fund. You're on the board of of ALBAN. As many of you probably know, ALBAN is the Stanford Latino Entrepreneurial Initiative, and really support young people on the board of the Hispanic Heritage Foundation. So what is your dream and aspiration for the community? And what can and should Latinos achieve in the world of capital management and value creation in the next 20 years?
Marcelo mentioned 2 things that aligned and fine-tuned with what I'm sharing as an answer to your question, which is the power of leadership and the power of teams. And I think that we as a community haven't really recognized ourselves as such. We talk about our numbers. We all know our numbers. We don't harness it effectively. And so only when we're able to behave as a team, where everybody knows their role, supports each other, and really we're able to harness our power as Latinos, I think that we can really lead this country in every way, political, economical, philanthropic, but we are not there because I don't think we operate as a cohesive team. And I think I think we should work towards being being a very powerful team, because our power is there. We just don't harness it. And as Maya Angelou would say, the most frequent way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have it. The thing is, we know we have it, but we don't use it. And we have to get better at that. Maybe we have events like this and others where we say, how is it that we are going to harness our power as a community? In the little world where I'm in, which is the world of investments, we really have two big powerhouses. We have capital to be able to deploy to firms, and we have good people. Is everything, right? Because people will lead, will be the CEOs, will be the CMOs, will be the technology people, will be the board members, will be the executive operating partners. So it's all about harnessing capital and harnessing people. And I think that we have an engine with Angeles Investors, we have an engine with LCDA, we have an engine with NAA, with the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Somehow we have to all get together and have this master plan to be able to harness our power.
Great. Well, we have a few minutes for a couple of questions. If there's any questions for Monica, do we hear any? Yeah.
Thank you for showing up this morning in this traffic. We're very grateful. So I
Pleasure.
would hope that you wouldn't mind giving some of our entrepreneurs three tips. What you're looking for when you're interviewing entrepreneurs and making diligent decisions, just tips that they can take away with them today.
Sure. I was just yesterday with WeBank. They put together a group of 20 top Latinas, and we did a whole course that is a course I've taught. Any LBAN members here? Any other? Good. LBAN is a wonderful organization. I hope you were students of my course, what every entrepreneur needs to know about capital. And so to give you a 2-minute answer to the whole course, I think that preparation is everything, right? When you show up to a capital partner, you better have your business plan well thought out. You better have your financial model. How much are you asking? Why? And credibility is everything, right? What's your track record? And if you don't have it, how are you going to bring the right people to be able to complete that thesis? We are in the world of businesses that have at least $1 million in EBITDA. So depending on profitability, they're going to be 2, 3, 10, 20 million in revenue. And we might be controlled or non-controlled. It could be a combination of debt and equity. We like that, optimizing the capital structure. And also the first question I always ask entrepreneurs, and I would ask yourselves too, what do you truly want to achieve? What is the mission, the purpose that is behind what you're doing? Have that very clear, so that also gives you the clarity of how to deal with term sheets and conditions. You want to give control, you don't want to give control, and surround yourself by the best possible management team, right? We are only part of that. We might be the leader, we might be the key something, but it's all about teams, right? Nobody can do anything good alone, right? It's a matter of teams. And so really also putting together the right management team. And I know it's sometimes the thing is you don't have the resources, you're starting, but you know what? Enlist a group of people, convince them in any way, strike deals with them so that they somehow, help you in that journey.
Yeah. So I think we have time for one more.
Thank you for asking that question because it's why I'm here, right? As I said before, I collect capital and I collect good people. And every time, and Esther plays a wonderful role with us in understanding what is your business expertise, right? We usually say it's one of the two. You have an industry expertise, you're good in healthcare, you're good in consumer, you're good in technology, and then great. Or you have a functional expertise, right? I'm a great tech, I'm a great marketing person, I'm a great CFO, and they are both very valuable. So we always try to match and understand the value that people can bring. And then we say, what role can they play? They might be an entrepreneur, they might be an advisory board member, a board member, an investor, and it's about harnessing the power of your capability and match it with capital. I think that that is something that this room all has that DNA and that we should just continue to have that art. Maybe we task David with that task of how do we map, right? Business opportunities with the right talent. In a way, that's what Angeles does, right? Matching that talent. I think that's our call to continue to be very effective because I look at the Jewish community, the Mormon community, they operate as high-performing teams. They help each other. The money stays there. And that's what we need to do. And it begins with reaching out, understanding who can play what role, and offering help. It's not about, oh, I need this, I need that. And yeah, we all have the list of what we need. What can we offer? And I think that for me, every time I give something, I get like 3 times back. So it's a great return on investment to just really say, how can I be helpful to someone?
Bueno, thank you, Monica. Let's. And to the powerful next 20 years.
Thank you. It's a joy to be here with all of you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica and Esther. Another round of applause. I think they deserve it. Inspiring dialogue. Thank you very much.